What's up, XP Galore listeners and viewers? I am Rafael, and we're back at this, doing this Ghost of Tsushima adventure with my little buddy over here. Buddy, say hello.
Wait, why do I gotta be little, first of all?
I'm pretty sure you're little too, aren't you, short?
We're not gonna talk about it, but yes. Hello.
All right, cool.
My name is
What's up,
Marcus. Ralph, what is your favorite spooky character for Halloween?
Freddy Krueger.
Why?
What about yours?
No, I want to hear why yours is Freddy.
Oh, Freddy? Because, it involves sleeping, and the thought of a nightmare being able to kill you in real life was kind of spooky when I was a kid. What about you?
Mine is Michael Myers.
Boring. I'm kidding, man. He's creepy.
Because he doesn't have any, powers. He's
a creeper.
He is definitely a creeper, and despite the fact that he can sometimes be portrayed as supernatural, he could be shot a billion times and somehow he's still walking.
Doesn't he have a origin story about he's somewhat possessed?
So it depends on how you look at it, because the very first Halloween came out 1978, right? And it was this thing, and then they did Halloween 2 a year or two later. Even in that one, they started alluding towards some sort of occult backstory, kind of.
Yeah,
and then
dude shows up in every corner he's always speed walking.
He is a master speed walker, yes.
Yeah, he makes Batman look like just child's play. No pun intended with another horror movie.
So the first two films were supposed to be the self-contained thing, and then they did Halloween 3, which did not have Michael Myers in it at all.
Which was confusing. I remember that one.
And nobody liked that one. So then they brought him back for a 4, 5, and 6. And that was this trilogy that sort of slowly deep dived into him being the child that was born with this druid curse on him, to where he has to sacrifice people on the night of Samhain, which is Halloween.
So clever.
Yeah. So there's that, but then they sort of rebooted it with that Halloween H2O movie.
That was terrible. I remember that one,
which was supposed to be after Halloween 2, and then they did the sequel to that one, which was also terrible. And then Rob Zombie sort of did an origin story,
reimagining, right?
Right, and then they came back in 2018 with Halloween that just retcons all of that except for the first film. And then
there's a lot of part 2s.
Yeah. Well, and so then, they just came out with Halloween Kills, which I actually watched on Halloween night.
Oh, that's really cool. I did not watch it because I missed one. It was the previous one from that one. I don't even know what it was called.
It's just Halloween. Yeah.
They just called it Halloween. Wow, that is so creative.
Honestly, though, as annoyed as I'm getting with these Halloween films, with them just not learning how to take a headshot from 10 feet away, literally just stand back and shoot him in the head. That annoys me.
It'll mess up the plot. It'll mess up the whole story.
I know. But besides all of that, I kind of like what they're doing. Because there's supposed to be another one coming. That's not a spoiler. They announced that these newer set of movies are supposed to be a trilogy, and I think it's going to be maybe a trilogy to end it all, because the one that's coming next year is called Halloween Ends.
We'll see. They'll always do that, and then they come back.
I like what they're doing with the story. I don't like just how dumb everybody is. There are a few that I can understand how Michael Myers got the jump on them, but there's a lot of them that you're just being dumb, man.
You
come on.
To die.
you deserved what happened to you.
That is terrible. I grew out of them, man. I've been trying to watch a good horror movie, and I can't find any. Everything is just cliche, same mistakes, dumb choices, and it just takes me away from it. I'm yelling at the screen more than anything, but I don't do that in movie theaters. But if I could, I would. I'd be like, "Are you serious? Are you serious?" Right. I've been saying the same thing. You got a gun, headshot it, man. Just headshot.
Yeah, the headshots are the things that nobody in horror movies can seem to do, I guess.
Nope. That's
sad. Everybody, hello, welcome. It is November 1st at the time of recording. Halloween is now over, and now everybody's starting to put Christmas trees up. So
I never got that. Pretty soon we're not gonna have a Halloween. You know that?
I know. I need them to wait until Thanksgiving. That's my thing. Is like the Christmas tree doesn't come up until after Thanksgiving.
It's after Thanksgiving, Black Friday.
Right. Black Friday is probably a good day to do it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, which I don't get this. It's like Halloween is happening, right? Well, was happening, and you're trying to buy a costume, and there's Christmas trees. What?
Yes. I wonder if anybody else in the world does that, or if America is that way.
No, it's just America. We're eager to sell stuff. We're like, ooh, you better buy your presents now.
Yeah, we seem to get the jump on holidays 2 or 3 like months in advance. Like middle of January or like beginning of February is usually when you see Easter stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's gross.
Yeah, dude, it's just it's sooner and sooner. And the thing I love is when they start doing we're doing Black Friday deals now. Check it out. I only like Cyber Mondays now.
Yeah, I do.
Cyber Mondays is the safest thing.
It is. I do more Cyber Monday than Black Friday stuff now. But I guess their reasoning too is like if they get all that stuff out now, it helps alleviate some of the pressure and the rushes that happen on like Thanksgiving night and Black Friday. Because I remember my retail days, like even up like a couple of years ago, like right before, I guess it'd be 2019 was the last Black Friday that I worked, and just
the horde. Yeah,
just seeing like the crowds in a Walmart on a Thursday night, like Thanksgiving night, it's unreal. And then like I worked like years before that, I worked in one of the bigger malls in Middle Tennessee. The store that I worked in was right by one of the main entrances, and so to see security unlock the doors and to watch these people start sprinting down the mall corridors, it was just unreal to me. Like it's that serious to some people. I remember the funniest thing I ever saw though was like I guess when like 2018, 2019 when I was out and about. I saw a couple of women, like 2 or 3 of them walking together, and they even got matching t-shirts. Like they had t-shirts made for the whole thing.
Oh gosh.
It's like an American event in itself.
That is so silly.
Yeah.
No, I was scared. I worked at a mall, and good thing that I worked overnight. But I used to see the crowds, people hiding in bushes trying to get close to the property, and they get trespassed. But then they'll still come back and continue doing the same thing. And as soon as those doors open, it's just a mob of people. That's how zombies are going to happen. I believe that's how the infection's going to spread. People on Black Friday. Isn't that a plot in a game? I'm pretty sure that's a plot in a video game.
Well, I mean, I know in Dawn of the Dead
the Division. No, a video game. I'm talking about like.
Yeah, that's how New York City and most of the United States got infected with the dollar flu, was because the main bad guy infected dollar bills with this hybrid flu that kills people.
This is what worries me. We're giving them ideas.
I know, right?
Right?
We should probably stop doing that.
That's a great idea. It's terrible.
Well, besides crazy Black Friday-ness and other fun things to look forward to, how are you, buddy?
I am done moving.
Congratulations.
Yes, it's over. Now it's just about rearranging all the stuff that I have in my new home, organizing it, storing stuff away. Put up my computer yesterday. Trying to get all that working, making sure all my recording stuff is updated, and then I played a scary game because why not, right? It's Halloween, so I took advantage of that and I played Resident Evil 4 VR.
Oh, how was that? I've been seeing that it's been getting really good like review scores on it.
It is very fun. It has a really good balance of you're capable, obviously, because you're playing as Leon, and he has an arsenal of weapons. Just to reload and cocking back the gun, making sure you're reloading it properly. Every weapon has its own reload system. So it's not like a simple put a clip in that's it, it's in. No, you actually have to do the whole entire gimmick of like shotgun, pump action shotgun. When you shoot, you have to pump the shotgun and shoot again. The rifle, you have to shoot once and then like remove that round, reload it again, and then shoot again. It's so weird, but very, very fun. And I was like, this is not scary. I got to the scene of the village with a chainsaw, and that's like the scariest scene in the beginning of the game. And I'm like, oh, dude, this is gonna be really weird playing VR. And when I played it, it was scary. I started panicking because it's not like you press the button to reload. Now you have to do the motion, and I'm running, trying to reload, and then I forget to reload properly, and I don't cock the gun back, and I'm just screaming like, oh god, oh god, oh god, trying to go around the corner, trying to go in the buildings. Very intense. So I highly recommend that one, Marcus. You got to play that VR, please. Because I know you don't like horror games in VR, but dude, that one's fun. That one's fun.
And that is how Roth broke his VR headset, is because he started running from the zombies and ran into the wall of his own home.
No, actually, I was playing on the Oculus. Was it Quest 2?
Oh, so the walls pop up, yeah.
And yes, it pops up, and I was playing sitting down. I'm smart. I'm not that dumb. I'm not gonna be playing standing up. You crazy? Okay. I will run. No, I was playing sitting down, and it's very comfortable. Like, they have dynamic mode, like you're more hands-on, so you feel the motion of the weapons. Like I said, the reloading, healing yourself. The knife is in a certain part of your body on the left side on your chest, so it feels really cool grabbing the weapons and switching weapons, and the inventory system is very dynamic. So they did it very well. Like, super surprised. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. But then when there's a lot of them, a lot of enemies, that's where the game gets scary. It's just pretty cool. So I'm gonna continue on that one. That's the best.
Well, maybe I'll charge up my Oculus and install and try it out. We'll see.
It's not scary. I think I know it's fun, but it's just nerves. You get that anxiety of making sure you get your motions done properly. But then they have another feature that you can just press a button and switch the weapon, which is kind of useless. It's good for people that are not into that VR mode. They have the teleportation version of it too, that you can just point and click and it just takes you there. Okay. Don't like it though. That makes me nauseous.
Sure. I can understand. Well, as far as my life goes, without getting into too much detail, I can say that the job hunt is almost over.
Sweet.
Yeah. Once something is finally decided, I can be a little bit more forthcoming on it. But for now, I'm kind of still keeping things close to the chest. But yeah, hopefully that'll be resolved by this time next week. I'll have a full answer. But beyond that, I also played spooky stuff around Halloween time. So I started off on last Monday with playing this game called Visage, which is on Xbox Game Pass. Mm-hmm. It is a first-person suspense horror, I guess is the term for it, because you don't get weapons, at least not that I can tell.
Those are tough.
Yeah, so I couldn't even tell you the story of it really, except that, well, so it's in different chapters. There's and I think each chapter is a whole different setting, but the setting I was in a house. Okay. And well, I think like you start every chapter in the house, but then like there's an item you interact with that takes you to the chapter. So what version I played in kept me in the house. And I guess I was trying to like do something to figure out the full backstory of this old lady that was dead in the house and haunting it or something.
That's not creepy at all.
Yeah, I like there. It was a lot of like, I got a lot of Metroidvania vibes from it. Like,
you had to go back and forth investigating.
Yeah, there's a lot of back and forth because without giving too much away, there's a certain point you get in that chapter where it's like there are different hidden rooms that you go into, that you discover a way to open these rooms up, and each one is like a different puzzle, and each puzzle usually leads to like an item or like a further thing you have to go to, and so then there's a lot of back and forth, and a lot of it is kind of narrative. Like it kind of led you down the story of learning about it, but it was very creepy. And if you've ever played things like PT or Phasmophobia, it's those kind of nerve-wracking things. Like I died several times from the old lady just because like there's an insanity meter. Like, you don't have a health meter, but it's like your insanity. So as your insanity goes up, like, more supernatural things happen around you. And then every now and then,
like Eternal Darkness.
Yeah, something like that. And then, like,
which is like a Nintendo game, by the way.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
And also Metroidvania. You know, Metroid is a Nintendo game, and Castlevania started in Nintendo. Just fun fact.
What's Nintendo? I don't know what that is.
You Nintendo. Don't be pretending you don't Nintendo. Oh, go ahead.
But yeah, there were several times where the old lady would just pop up and just put a knife in your stomach, just right in front of you.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it was so scary. I have a clip because I streamed it. I have a clip of one time that
how you screamed.
I screamed like a little girl. I did.
No,
I did. It was.
You gotta send me that video. I'm like, give me that clip.
I'll have to find the clip and
I want to put it on the video
because it was. Yeah. It wasn't necessarily her killing me. It was one of those little puzzle rooms, and it got me good. It got me real good.
That's cool. I don't like the games that you're not capable. Outlast was one of them. I played Outlast Part 1, and I was freaking the hell out just because of that camera mechanic. I couldn't. If I can't shoot something, I don't feel safe. Like, I don't feel like I can't. Resident Evil 7 did it well because the bullets were scarce. How do you say it? Scarce, right? It wasn't enough, so it was a good balance. Like, you could shoot, but you had resources. You had to ration your ammo. So that was what made that game scary. Village wasn't scary at all because they gave you all the ammo. You can make ammo.
Right,
you know what I mean? So
and you get like 20 guns in that game.
20 guns that apparently he's carrying all over his body. I would like to see Ethan, like his whole body, just rifle shot, all sorts of different types of shotguns. It's incredible.
Just strapped up
just strapped up all over around his leg and stuff. He's just moving like a tank, like you just hear all the metal clanking. That'd be awesome.
But yeah, so honestly, after playing it that one time, the thought of going back to it just made me really uneasy.
Would you?
I don't know. I didn't uninstall it. It's still there.
That could be a good replay, like for later, maybe next year.
Yeah, or I'll just touch on it.
Let it sit for a while. Let it sit for a while and you forget. And
or maybe I'll just like touch on it like once a week or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, so it was around Wednesday when I noticed that Steam was doing a Halloween sale. And so I looked, and they had Dead Space 2 on there for $5. And
I did that last year, so
yeah, I had played Dead Space 1 on stream a few months back, and so I was like, you know what? I'm kind of overdue to play Dead Space 2 on stream, so let me do that. And so then that's what I did for the rest of the Halloween week.
Nice. Did you beat it, or was it one sitting?
No, I've still got I think there's 15 chapters in the game, and I just recently started chapter 8. So I don't think I'm going to finish it on stream, but I will finish it at some point here soon.
Nice. I have 2 questions for you. One is about Dead Space. Which one's your favorite one out of the trilogy?
Probably 2.
I like 2. Part 2 was good. Yes. And question number 2, since we're still talking about horror stuff, what is your personal favorite horror game that left an impact when you were a kid that you remember? It can be any... Or just younger, a couple of years back. It doesn't matter how long ago. But which horror game left an impact in your life? Like, unique. Can you think of any?
Yeah, several. It kind of depends on what kind of impact I want to focus on. Because, like, I played all the original Resident Evils, like, on the PlayStation 1. Like,
okay.
I remember Resident Evil 2 being one of my favorites. And Resident Evil 3 was pretty good, too. Just those original PS1 versions. Yeah. Just because of like, especially with Resident Evil 2, there's a process to them that's very relaxing to me. Like, searching every room, trying to get all the keys and just unlocking everything. It's a very calming process to me.
That's a complete opposite of a horror game, but go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, like, especially with Resident Evil 2, there's a lot of scary stuff that happens in that too.
This is after you mastered it and you were just playing it multiple times, correct?
I wouldn't say I mastered it. I never played a horror game out like higher than normal difficulty, that's for sure.
Okay,
But I
okay.
remember Resident Evil 2 was really cool because, well, like if you play the remake now,
Hmm.
you just choose between Leon or Claire, right?
Yeah,
And eventually, like, there's a reason for you to play both campaigns one after the other. But like, what was cool about the original PlayStation 1 was that it was 2 discs. One was Leon and one was Claire. So you would finish the campaign of one of them and then put the other disc in and load that save file. It did a really good job of saying, okay, if you played as Claire in the first time, then that means you followed this full scenario this way. So that means if you play as Leon for scenario B, Leon has to have gone a different way. Like he didn't start
yeah.
in the same place. It doesn't do that thing that video games do where it's like if you choose whichever character you want to play as, it just drops you right in the same plot.
I
Right?
think it had like 4 endings, right? Because of that, because you start out in different locations. If you start with CD A or CD B, it switches the storyline as in
A little bit, yeah.
a little
Like,
bit.
yeah, eventually, like, if you're playing as Leon, you're always going to run into Ada Wong. If you
Yeah,
play
yeah.
as Claire, you always run into Sherry Birkin.
But the meetup was always slightly different. Like,
A little bit, yeah. But like, if you play this scenario A, you're always going to have the same ending ultimately, and then doing scenario B is like the actual true ending, no matter who you play as. So.
ooh, yeah,
And
I remember that.
yeah, and then of course, if you play the remake, it's the same thing. It does the same thing, but it doesn't. The remake, that's the one grievance I had with it, is the remake didn't do it as well. It didn't give
No, it
as
didn't.
much. It didn't give you as much of a stake in why you should play both A and B, besides getting the true ending, like,
Yeah,
or besides like experiencing the characters all in their own way. But you should still do it. But it just like the PlayStation 1 version, it wove together the story a little bit better.
yeah, it
So,
did.
but
It did.
besides that, I guess the last one I will quickly mention is on the Xbox, the original Xbox. There was one
Hmm.
kind of like Outlast. I think you could, if I remember right, you could use weapons in it, but I don't remember. But it was called Condemned.
Condemned. Criminal Origins?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a Sega game.
Well,
Yes.
it was on the original Xbox, yeah.
Yeah, no, 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 but it was made by Sega.
So yeah, I remember that because I think that was one of the first person horror experiences I played that you couldn't do much. Like
Isn't
there,
that the one you have to do like a detective mode at certain points to investigate?
yes.
Oh, wow, that's a good choice.
Uh-huh. Because I
I
didn't want to
haven't heard
mention
about that game.
I didn't want to mention Outlast because like I mean Outlast is what it is, but like before Outlast, years before Outlast, there
Yeah.
was Condemned. What about you?
My favorite, my favorite horror game that I still till this day, if someone comes over and has not experienced this game, I like to pop it in just to see how far they go, and I know exactly where they're gonna get scared. It is Silent Hill 2 for the PlayStation 2.
Good choice. Very good choice.
Silent Hill 2 messed me up. I was a teenager when I played it, but it had a very Nightmare on Elm Street feel vibe. It was like a nightmare fueled world. The creatures, you don't understand what they are, except that they look like mannequins. They look like weird weird shaped creatures, entities that just doesn't need to make sense. It's just horror fueled art styles. That the Pyramid Head, that's where he really started. So something about that game I took with me. I couldn't get those creatures out of my head. And my favorite scenes were the first introductions of those. Like in the movie, they called them the Condom Man. Do you know what I'm talking about? The ones that are like they're kind of like strapped, like if they're like in one of those insane asylum jackets.
Oh
Those
yeah,
jackets,
yeah.
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 So, but it's just rubber. It's just like a whole rubber suit. They have no arms,
I
but they're
remember
just like,
those. Yeah.
yeah, and they're just moving around kind of weird and deformed. And if you go near a vehicle, a car, when you're in the town, the whole town is fogged up. You get near a car and they crawl out of the floor like a cockroach really fast and make a weird screeching sound. And it always gets people. It still gets me till this day. Sometimes I know it's coming, but then I forget a certain vehicle, and then I get one that pops out and it scares me. I'm like, oh, damn it. I forgot about you. It still holds up, and the music, the atmosphere, the story doesn't really make much sense. It's like a nightmare. That's why I enjoyed it. It's very very trippy game, and then you realize at the end when I started doing more research of the Silent Hill 2, the protagonist, it turns out all those creatures are manifestations of how he views himself and the world. So the mannequins that are not really, they're just deformed, is his, it's considered somewhat of his torment. I'm trying not to give too much away, but once you get near the ending, you found out what had happened to him and the loved one that he's trying to find. It makes perfect sense on why the creatures end up looking the way they do. So that's why I thought it was pretty dope. Like, very, very nightmarish. That's tough. A game still holds up to this day, and I would like a remake, but at the same time, I kind of don't want them to mess it up. You know, it was a very fun experience. Have you beaten that one?
No, I have not, but I haven't played it since the original PS2 days.
That's a PlayStation game, bro.
Okay.
PlayStation 2. Now you're doing this, and I'm Nintendo. Now you're doing this to me on PlayStation.
I had different games I was interested in. So.
Well, you played Resident Evil. That's like, default Silent Hill was kind of like its competitor at the time.
Kind of, yeah.
Ah, dude, come on. You're missing out.
Silent Hill 2 sorry that I consistently disappoint you.
Always. You got to send me a list of what games you beat.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to start dashing out the games you're currently playing. You're like, you're not playing this today. You're going to play this. Mario RPG. I'm kidding. Don't do that.
Okay.
You can't go back.
That's well, those are some good choices. So, before we get into tonight's topic, just very briefly go over a couple of news items that popped up. First of all, we'll jump to the state of play real fast. So, on October 27th, PlayStation did about a 20-25 minute state of play. Talking about some of their third-party titles coming up. I did not personally watch it. I did catch some of the highlights through Twitter, but I was a little preoccupied at the time. But Ralph, you watched it, right?
I watched it, and I felt like I was pretty harsh on the games. You know, they're unique games, they're different, but none of them really caught my eye. You understand? You know, it's just not my genres.
Yeah, maybe because they had their showcase like a month or two ago, and that did very well. Like, it had a lot of really cool tidbits of news there. So I think a lot of these titles that showed up were a little bit under the radar a bit. So for instance, they did announce that Death's Door was coming to PlayStation here pretty soon. I think at the end of this month, if I remember right. And the thing, I didn't know about that one, and I didn't even know it was on the Xbox first. And I was like, oh, I would play that one. That one's actually pretty cool looking. Yeah. There's been a lot of people that have called for that to be in the list for Game of the Year this year. So I need to play it at some point myself. It always looked really interesting to me. I never got around to it yet, but there's still time of the year, hopefully.
It has that Bastion, the Bastion like indie game look with the over the top graphics and
like Hades too, kind of. Yeah,
and it was compared to Legend of Zelda, which is a Nintendo.
That's true. Yes, it is a Nintendo game. Correct. That does remind me real fast that I think we're still in the sort of talking about it stage, but I think you and I have both talked about how we wouldn't mind doing like a live stream episode for the Game Awards.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking for whenever Jeff Keighley posts the link for nominations, like where the public can vote, because I would like that list to come out pretty soon so that we can do our due diligence and try to either play them or do a lot of research on each title. That, like, except for maybe, like, I mean, no offense to the sports fans out there, but we're not going to sit around and play like a Madden or whatever.
Nope, no Madden. Oh man, I don't play none of the sports games.
At the very least,
you're gonna have to play all the Call of Duty games. I don't play Call of Duty.
Okay, yeah, I'll see what I can. I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do about that.
Battlefield, but I don't.
Well, I plan on doing Battlefield as well. But also, it's funny you brought that up because later this week, Call of Duty Vanguard drops, which is the newest title. I think I'll do the single player for that. I know it's another World War II game, and I think there's a little bit of World War II fatigue in that franchise, but I mean, it does look like a beautiful FPS. So I think I'll at least play the single player campaign and then just call it a day after that.
Hey, you'll let me know how it is, right?
Yes, I will let you know how it is.
Thank you. You saw that other game that's coming out, Deathverse?
I saw the bit of, apparently, like, so it's part of this overall franchise called Let It Die that I don't know anything about, but apparently a lot of people like it.
It just looks like another Fortnite kind of style. Not saying it's an open world like it is. Like, it's not at all.
Yeah, I think it's a battle
the,
royale. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the animation to me felt like it's one of those games that you just jump in, play, die, probably have to respawn or play another game. And I don't know how I feel about it yet. I may have to try it out before I start judging it, you know.
Yeah, and then the only other one I noticed that popped up that I kind of recognized, besides King of Fighters or whatever, is the new Star Ocean the Divine Force.
I never played any, and I don't feel like it's safe for me to jump on another JRPG.
I would agree in that, like, I've never played any of the Star Oceans either, and I don't know how much backstory I would need to have to play this one. I usually reserve my JRPGs to Final Fantasy or something along those lines.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, you got to pick and choose. Like, I like to play Final Fantasy only because they're not really tied in with one another. So
correct.
When they come out with a sequel, I can skip one and I don't feel guilty about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's
the same thing with Persona. I'm like, Persona 5, I'm not worried about 4, 3. I'm not saying that they're bad games, just that they're too long, man. They're very long.
They are. Yeah, they are definitely time sinks, so you got to pick and choose. At least I know I do.
Yeah, I do.
So
everything else was just like me. Like Kart Riders to me looks like a Mario Kart. Five Nights at Freddy. It's another Five Nights at Freddy. We Are OFK. That one looks interesting. It has like a Life is Strange indie look. Like you follow a band.
I saw the summary of it. Yeah.
So it looks interesting. So I can't say much about that one. Bug Snacks is a Viva Pinata for me. I don't. That's not my genre.
Yeah,
there's people out there that like it, you know, kids and all that stuff. That's cool.
There are adults that like Bug Snacks.
Okay, cool, good for you. XP galore, you know, you play everything. It's all good. You know, I'm not judging. I just don't play it. And First Class Trouble. That's another kind of clever sci-fi Among Us. It looks very cool. Like there's hidden robots that are playing fake humans and they help you throughout the ship because it's in space apparently, and it looks like a BioShock kind of / Prey 1950s or 40s look. So looks interesting. I'll probably try that out. And then The Devil Inside, that was the last one. Devil Inside was that unique looking side scroller, and then it goes over the top and everything looks like figurines. It looks very claymation-ish for some reason, but looks interesting. But that's it, man. There was nothing else. Nothing else and I was bummed out. I thought there was going to be more. I thought they were going to tease us a little extra stuff, but it is what it is. You know, there's a little bit for stuff for everyone out there. I just wanted my Metal Gear.
Well, maybe next year you'll get Metal Gear.
Okay.
The last little thing I'll bring up real fast, not necessarily like related to a video game in particular, but kind of a big personality in the gaming world. So one of the biggest streamers and content creators out there in the Twitch space, Pokimane. I don't know if you've heard of her or not, Roth.
I saw an image, but I don't follow. Remember, I'm not savvy with this. I'm an old soul.
She's one of the top Twitch content creators out there.
That's bad Twitch.
She has sort of stepped in and helped found a new talent management company specifically geared towards streamers and content creators. So the company is known as RTS, which kind of relates to real-time strategy. She even said that in the mission statement. That
clever.
Yeah, it's like that. She's not like the CEO, but she is in the top, chief executive board of it.
Okay.
She is the chief creative officer for it. But it's a company that is branded around helping content creators sort of get their name out there. It's like, creator management. helps them get partnerships with
Oh, that's
other
nice.
companies, helps create sort of a marketing image and a marketing strategy for them.
That's pretty
And
cool.
I thought it was a very cool thing too. I'm glad to see that, people are doing things beyond the streaming, because like there's nothing wrong with just making streaming your own thing, like your only thing that you do. However, when you can start off as a content creator or a Twitch streamer and evolve so well and grow so greatly that you can create something unique to help other content creators out and help better the space overall. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I feel like we spoke about this, that this would have been a better deal, like to help each other out instead of like compete with one another. This is
it,
actually very cool.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I agree that like the only way that the content creation space is going to truly always get better is that if we're all kind of helping each other succeed.
Yeah.
There's no reason to try to outdo one another, like we're all here doing our own thing. And it's also really cool, like I took a look at their management structure, and like everybody that is holding like either an officer position or like a VP position. There's a lot of really cool diversity on the board too. I mean, it's not a stretch to say that like you see these initiatives, but unfortunately they seem to be run by people who are maybe the same skin color or like the same gender, right? I mean, let's be honest, streaming is a male dominated industry, and a lot of the gaming stuff can be too. So when you see like, women in cool positions of power creating this kind of thing, or like people of different ethnicities that are in these high positions of power, it's another thing that stands out to me too, is like, hey, it looks like people are taking the next step, and
It's a good change. It's a good thing that's happening. I like it.
absolutely. And so, I hope that this company does very well. I hope it thrives, and maybe I hope one day that I'll be a big enough streamer to warrant having an agent from RTS. Who knows?
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I was like, I'm gonna look this up. Maybe I can get taught how to do this right, and you never know in the future. For now, I'm busy though. I'm kidding. No, that was terrible.
Well, that kind of leads into one of the main topics I wanted to talk about tonight. Was I had this thought about 2020, because I think earlier you and me and several others, we had all kind of discussed like the idea of like work from home, and the idea that like there's a lot of companies that are hiring right now because everybody quit their job pretty much in 2020, or they had to leave because of COVID and pandemic reasons. And it's being labeled by some as like the great resignation of 2020, right? Like it was like this mass exodus out of all these jobs. And I think that led to a lot of people pursuing content creation in general. But I don't even mean just necessarily streaming. I think one of the reasons that TikTok was able to grow as much as it has in the past couple of years is because people just wanted to start doing things for themselves. And it's something that it doesn't require you to spend a lot of money, because like to create a TikTok, you just need your phone, right?
Yep, correct.
And so there's a lot of really interesting content creation happening out there. And let's just be honest, like one of the big ones that came out of it was OnlyFans, right?
I've been thinking about it.
As have you really? You're gonna put some OnlyFans out there? Send me that link, bro.
Yeah, I will talk about it right after this.
Hey, bills need to be paid somehow, right?
Exactly. Kudos to everyone that's doing it, though. Thinking outside the box.
It takes some courage to do that, and some real self-love to say, you know what, I'm brave enough and I want to take control of myself, and I want to put myself out there in any form. I don't mean just OnlyFans. I mean just to put yourself in front of a camera to stream video games, to do dances in front of your phone for TikTok or IG Reels or whatever. But yeah, I found it really interesting that I think when we look back on this time in our lives, I think the history books will perhaps mention, maybe not specifically where people went, but people will talk about how the job market sort of opened
Oh,
up, there was a big vacuum that happened because
oh yeah.
people left. What reasons do you think that people, vacated their positions during this time? Like, what have you seen?
It was the stress. Okay, first of all, it was definitely the stress. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I was still working. I never got affected when it came to what had happened. People staying home. I was one of those that I had to work. I was an essential worker, and kind of bummed me out because they broke me. They broke a lot of people. They had us work extra hard, and then there was others that got to stay home and were taken care of. But then they started realizing, this job is not everything. Your life is valuable. You only live once. As cheesy as that may sound, they started realizing, wow, this job is not really everything for me. And I feel like I would take this opportunity to learn something new or focus on myself. We're stuck at a house. We're stuck at our homes. And a lot of people that I spoke to started just realizing, yo, this is just, it's not worth working in a job that you're not happy. Something that you're just doing it to make it some income, the income to pay rent, pay bills. And they started having fun doing their own thing. Heck, I have friends that are doing Uber and they're doing great. They're doing better than what they were doing before. They're making way more money than what they were doing before. And it's incredible to me because now they're just taking they're making themselves their own boss. And that's why I see what I see with TikTok, OnlyFans, IG, whatever social media out there that you end up focusing on, or all of them. I try not to get too involved because it's complicated for me, but it works. It's a very cool thing. You get to express yourself. You get to be yourself. You get to do the things you love. It feels more like instead of the Great Resignation, I feel like it's more like a Great Reset.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense, right? It's just a realization that everyone had. It was like, hey, wait a second. I don't want to work for this guy, this person. I can do my own thing. I'm talented, or I could be talented. I can learn a new skill, and I can make more money. I can, it was a great motivation for me, at least. Like, I thought the same way because in the mid to the end of my job working at the place I was, I felt that. I felt like this is insane. Do I really want to do this life, or should I move on to something else that I will appreciate, I will love, and I'll enjoy? I'm just grateful that all this talent is actually starting to show up. It's like a boom. 2020, 2021. When it comes to streaming, social media, all of this, we have so much content now. It's just everyone's doing podcasts, everyone's doing Let's Plays, everyone's doing TikToks. It's just incredible. It's just a overflow of content. What do you think about that?
I would absolutely agree with that. Like, first of all,
you're a Twitcher. Yeah, you play Twitch, and that's another thing. I feel like how do you feel with this whole situation, or how the world got affected? Did it affect you any? Besides regular stuff.
In a way it did. And I would agree, first of all, with what you said earlier about the reason people vacated their jobs. Like, I think they realized that we were so caught up in just surviving that once we had that taken away where we couldn't work, we realized that we had other options available to us to make money. And so that job that we thought we had to work, we really didn't. It's
not everything. It's not everything.
Yeah, and I think it really exposed a lot of companies' treatment towards their employees. And how
100%.
Because I mean, think of like how many fast food employees, for instance, like they were making more from unemployment. That was an extended unemployment, of course, because of COVID. They were making more off of that on a monthly basis than they were at their jobs. And so now that all these fast food places are hiring, one of the first things I see on their light box signs outside is like, they're paying 1.5 times what minimum wage is now, because they like minimum wage in America, it is not sustainable to live on. It isn't. And we can get into that another time, but like, so I think a lot of people realize that they don't have to sell their time and their souls to a company to be happy. And it's just like you said, I think happiness is the number one thing. Like, you got to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And so people are starting to do that with all these different streaming avenues. And like, from my personal experience, my job wasn't necessarily affected by COVID. I think it might have played a part in it at some point, but mine was more based off of the company I was with. They got into a merger with another company and they phased out the position because of that. Yeah. But I was in a very fortunate position where I could take a break from everything. I was in a good financial place, personal spot where I didn't have to scramble for a job, and I had already been streaming at the time. I had definitely already been doing that, and I was when the job thing happened to me, I was still on Mixer before Mixer shut down.
Wow,
and I was
that's back in the day.
Yeah, it's been about a year now since it shut down, but yeah, so I was still on that, and then like a couple months after I got the notice about my job, that's when the Mixer thing happened. So then I had to reactivate my Twitch account.
Yeah.
And so then that's when I had the time and the focus to just dive in to Twitch to work on getting the affiliate status, which I did, and then, you know, just to kind of learn the different ways of building a community. And there's something very liberating about watching yourself grow as a content creator and watching what you can achieve, and then watching people start to join you.
Yeah, it's a great way, self-reflection. Like you're seeing your hard work nourished, like you're nourishing it, and seeing it grow is amazing. Like, I remember when you were just doing the Twitch thing here and there, and I started watching you, and I'm like, oh man, he's got more followers. And I kept seeing how I still don't understand it. I really don't understand it. We'll talk about that later, man.
Well, another example is that I don't know if I ever would have considered doing a podcast up until like a year ago. And then like, here we are, we've pretty much hit the 1 year mark of us doing this. And, and you know, we're not out here doing it for money or anything. You and I, we just do this because we like doing it. And, but we're creating something. And I think we're creating something and we're having fun creating it. And I think that's what a lot of people out there experience, whether they are finding their niche on TikTok with whatever they're doing out there, or with IG Reels. Hell, even with OnlyFans, like, you know how much money people have made on OnlyFans just by realizing that they are actually they're not as what's the word I'm looking for here? They're not.
Go ahead, I'm waiting for it. I'm trying to see how nice you can word this.
A lot of people degrade themselves because they think that's how everybody sees them, right? And when they start getting a little bit more self-confidence and self-esteem in themselves, they start to realize their potential to create just whatever and to do whatever. It reminds me of my days. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on the show, at least, but years and years ago, I was a ballroom dance instructor.
What?
Yeah.
Hell no, you did not mention this.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. So I actually have a whole background in dance and stuff, but
what?
So in the 5 years that I was a ballroom teacher.
5 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
You learned something new about me. Look at that.
No, I'm shocked. Go ahead, continue.
So in the 5 years I did that, one of the most common things I noticed, especially with brand new students, is just how little confidence they had in themselves. They were there a lot of times. Like if I taught couples, a lot of times it was one-sided. Like one person wanted to do it, and the other person was just like, well, you know, she wants to do this, he wants to do this. I'm just kind of here because they want to do it, but I don't think that I'm going to be very good at this at all, whatever. And it turns out they become just great students and great dancers. And it's because it's good to have people around you that help nourish and build up that self-esteem and that confidence for you. But then when you start to see what you can do and you start realizing just how talented you are as an individual, then that's where you really start to flourish. And I think the same thing happens with a lot of these people that create just any sort of content. If you're a content creator out there, no matter how many followers you have, like even if you have one follower, Like you're out there, if you just do it, you're doing the thing, and you should be proud of just doing that, because there's so many people who don't think that they're capable of doing that. And so to be able to come out and just start doing something, you'd be surprised, I think, what you can create. Now, it doesn't mean that once you start, like, you can't always be changing things. And that's something I have to kind of always work with on my own personal stuff, is like, because I hate change. So just having to like look at what I'm creating and think, okay, what do I need to maybe tweak here and there to make it better? Like, I hate doing that, because I just, if I find something that works, I don't want to touch it. But like, that's just kind of my own personal thing. But
well, damn, that's what I go through in editing. I'm like, oh, so much stuff I want to touch. Just like, nah, it's okay. No, do more. I'm like, nah. If I do too much, then it's just gonna take away what makes it special.
Right.
You know?
So, but
it's the randomness.
But yeah, so I just, I just think that like we're in a really interesting time where, there's a lot of content creation happening, and it's sort of taking over the job market, and I think that
definitely is.
I think we're going to see more and more. I would like to hope that we see more and more jobs that are okay, like with you working from home instead of having to go into a place 9 to 5, 8 to 4, Monday through Friday.
Up. They made it possible now. They messed up. Now you can't say, no, we can't do that. It can be done.
Yeah, we had a whole year to prove that you can, in fact, like, video games have been made from home, right?
Yes.
It extends the process, of course, but like, it can be done.
Yeah, they made episodes of South Park at their houses. They all got their own personal PCs, and they all made an episode. Everyone stayed at their homes.
Right.
It's possible.
Like, I remember a video of one of the main supporting cast voice actors from Destiny. He took a video and put it on Twitter of him turning he had a walk-in closet, and it's not a big walk-in closet, but he turned it into his recording booth.
Nice.
Because that was probably one of the quietest places in his house to record lines from, because, when you do that kind of thing, you have to have silence.
Yes.
So like, he did that. And so like, it's proven that there's a lot possible that we didn't entertain the thought of, I think, because of the norm, right? The norm was going into a place, working, if you're like punching in 9 to 5 or whatever, or even if you are just working an hourly job and you have to go in and do it that way. Like, I'm starting to see that's changing, and a lot of people are definitely looking to become their own entrepreneurs. I think before the pandemic, we were seeing this a lot with Uber and Lyft, right? Like, that was another big wave of, and it wasn't necessarily replacing full-time jobs, but it was supplementing that income, and people were very casually doing it and finding out that they can, depending on how they did it and how much time and work they put into it, they were making some decent money,
a lot of money. Yep.
And so now with this content creation stuff, where people are finding ways to generate income out of it, I think it's incredible. Like, Twitch and YouTube were the big streaming platforms. I mean, if you don't count Facebook Gaming and Mixer, which is now defunct, but but the thing about that is, especially with Twitch doesn't necessarily pay out as well as some other platforms do. And now I'm starting to see more and more platforms pop up that pay out better. For instance, there's one that actually just popped up, and we can end my rant on this, but there's a site that just popped up called Expand Gaming, or expand.gg, and it's literally like a Twitter. It's like a social platform, but for gamers.
And you tell me this now?
Well, it just happened. It just came up.
We gotta work with this communication stuff, man. You can
I'm sorry.
text me.
Well, okay.
Until we.
Well, it just kind of popped up, but yeah,
it's my balls, man.
it's this cool little platform where gamers can just come together, and they do essentially what they do on Twitter. It's filtered out a bunch of that noise of the people that aren't gamers, because gaming is just one side of what Twitter is full of everything. Whereas this is more centered around like gamers, and it's still in its infancy, but it also has the ability to have creators earn money from it. Where if if you get to a certain level on there, then you can become somebody that people can subscribe to, and they have a 90% payout. So,
Ooh,
which
is super cool, man.
It is, and that's just one example too. So I think there's just a lot of really dope stuff coming, and I am keeping my eye on it for sure.
Definitely send me that link.
I will.
You hold this off. How do you do that, man? Why do you do that to me?
I'm sorry. Well, it's because
you gotta share. You gotta share this information.
You don't attend the top secret gamer meetings. That's what it is.
Marcus, what did I tell you about just telling me stuff while we're recording? You gotta tell me this prior to recording.
I'll send you the contract that gets you into these top secret meetings.
Okay, Jesus, dude, bro. So, no, but what about Facebook? It's changing its name to Meta.
Well,
what do you think about that?
The umbrella that is Facebook company.
It sounds very meta.
Oh my god, it's a meme. Nobody is taking this seriously. I guarantee it. There's a small population that might be like seriously okay with this, but like I don't.
Dude, we're gonna get the metaverse.
The metaverse of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. That's the metaverse.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm sorry. And Facebook gaming is a part of it too. Yeah.
Yeah, Facebook gaming. I don't know how I feel about that.
I literally saw it. I saw the news like the week prior that they were going to go through a name change of some sort, and then I saw the news that it happened, and I was like, "Cool, okay, whatever."
I think people are going to still call it Facebook, even if
of course they are.
Name.
Well, like so, the platform Facebook is not changing. It's still going to be Facebook.
This is called Meta.
It's just so it's like a good example, a good comparison, is the company of Google, like the overall corporation of Google, is actually called Alphabet, and so Google is just it's like the popular kid at the alphabet school.
It's like Microsoft, but with Xbox, right?
That's a good way of looking at
it. Like Sony, and then but their console is called PlayStation, right?
Right, like Sony is not just a video game company. Sony is a technology company. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Okay. Like Nintendo being Nintendo.
Okay, yeah.
Because Nintendo's always Nintendo.
I don't know if you have like some sort of quota for Nintendo that you're trying to meet tonight.
I'm trying to get them to sponsor me. It's like, no, stop.
But yeah, I really don't have any thoughts on this. I don't really like. I really wish that Instagram at least could come up with the capital and buy themselves out of Facebook. But
wasn't Instagram its own thing before?
It was, and Facebook bought them.
Mm-hmm. And Facebook bought it. It's like what happened with Xbox. They bought Skype, right? And then we barely.
Well, Microsoft bought Skype. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying that's what I meant. Like Microsoft purchased Skype, and then Zoom came out of nowhere and took over, which blows my mind. I still don't get that. Like the one time Skype can bring everyone together, and then Zoom comes out.
Yeah, I think
it's probably always been. I don't know the origin of Zoom.
I think for that is because Zoom doesn't necessarily require you to have like an account, like a login with them. Because like all those, I remember having to jump in on some Zoom meetings for my last job, and like as long as you have the meeting link, you can just jump in without signing in or anything. I think it was just a very quick and easy way to get internet meetings going, like video conferencing or whatever. But yeah, so like Facebook had bought Instagram, but and that company's so huge, I don't think Instagram could ever come up with enough money to buy themselves out of that. I wish they could, or I wish maybe another company could come in and just say, hey, you know what? Elon Musk should just buy Instagram off of Facebook. That's what
that'd be a waste of money.
He and Mark Zuckerberg.
We're trying to go to Mars, man. I don't want them to buy Instagram. Well, that'll slow them down.
Well, we can end this rant.
I want that chip in my brain too.
We can end this rant on this thing. Just speaking of Elon Musk, I don't know if you saw this or not, but there's somebody, I forget the position or the name of the person escapes me, and I apologize for that, but somebody within the United Nations, I think in charge of like global programs for something, stated that world hunger could either, I don't think solved is the right word, but like we could put a major, huge dent in world hunger with $6 billion. And they mentioned that $6 billion is 2% roughly of Elon Musk's worth, right?
What?
So I actually just saw this today. Elon Musk fired back a bit and he was like, okay, I'll sell Tesla stock and come up with $6 billion if you can tell me what $6 billion will do. Just give me a game plan and we'll talk.
Yeah, well, that's what we're gonna purchase. You gotta purchase all this food. You gotta distribute it to all the places around the world to solve world hunger. Is it gonna be a permanent thing? Are they gonna make farms, buildings? What is that money buying? Who's gonna be handling that money? Is it gonna be Elon Musk? Does he have to make the whole thing work himself?
I hope not. I mean, he can, but between him and Bezos, if him and Bezos came together,
we're just gonna go to Mars.
Well, yeah, but we have
Don't
to make
stop
Mars.
on Mars. I want to be in space.
We have to make Mars feasible first.
He's gonna make the Mass Effect relay, and we're gonna go explore further parts of the galaxy. So let him do his thing.
Sure, Mass Effect relays are for very far travels. Going from here to Mars does not require that. Come on now.
Well, that's just a jump start. He's just gonna jump start it over there because remember, they find ancient relics over there.
That is true.
Exactly. It'll fast forward our technology 200 years in the future, probably or more. You never know, and then we can make mass relays. Or probably, there's probably stuff out there we can use already. I want to go to space.
I can tell that you want to go to space.
I love space. Pretty.
Well, this has been a really good talk tonight. Not necessarily gaming related, but I think it was still a good topic of conversation.
It was somewhat gaming related because, podcasts, Twitch, talking about video games. Actually, not really. Come to think of it, you're talking about Instagram, TikTok, OnlyFans. Why did you bring up OnlyFans again? Do you have an OnlyFans account?
It's called the Ginger Thirst.
Oh my god, you with the damn clever names. Oh, that's good. That's really good. I do that. But everyone, thank you for listening to XP Galore. Again, we explore everything. That's the whole gimmick of the name, actually, Galore XP. It doesn't necessarily mention video games only. So thank you for listening, and you already know where to find us. Everything that Marcus just mentioned, even OnlyFans, not OnlyFans. Where can they find us, Marcus? They
can find us all over the place. They can find us on Twitter and Instagram at XP Galore, and you can catch the audio version of this on xpgalore.buzzsprout.com. We usually post the audio a day or two after we record, so you can get that downloaded real fast. But then if you subscribe to our YouTube, XP Galore, then you can see the video version where we do gameplay on top of us talking, but also I think in the future we're going to start posting some of the banter that we have back and forth when we play, because we find that to be entertaining for you guys, as well as each other. So
yeah, it's very fun. But thanks again, everyone. We'll catch you on the next episode. I am Rafael,
and I am Marcus,
and we are the youth of the nation.
Youth is a bit of a stretch there, buddy, but we'll go with it.
I feel young in the heart.
Good night, everybody.
Later.